we received were fantastic.
I love that you were trying to play it down, though, with David Beckham just being like, yeah, just come for 5 minutes and then move it on.
Well, I mean, to me, he's just Beck. You know, the lad that I met when I was 14. So I said, come to the hotel for a cup of tea. And then you realise the effect that someone of his status has on, wow, he's come to watch us and he's brought his young daughter who wore the Lioness kit, and his mum's come as well. And literally, it was the best team talk I'd ever done without doing anything, you know, that this guy had come and with Ian Wright.
With that World Cup as well, you were talking about, so people like Bex and Wrighty are now turning up to watch. Also, with the men's game, I feel like it was the first time that we really saw the men's game really getting on board with the Lionesses. How much influence do you feel you had in that, and how much do you think you drove that?
Well, I think it was a collective effort, I've got to say. I think what really helped was that I think society was changing. Not just the fact that I'd become England women's manager. I think the whole of society's attitude towards females, women in sport, in society was changing. I think there was a big power shift. And I think, like my sister said on that 15th of December, times are going to change, not just for football, netball, or any women's sport. Times are going to change for society, where there's going to be more respect, there's going to be more opportunities, there's going to be more equality for females in general. So ultimately, I think what I did, I tried to push the boundaries, and I had great support from Sue Campbell and everybody. But ultimately, I think attitudes towards female sportsmen changed, and I think that was the biggest thing about the World Cup, was that people tuned in to watch the best footballers, whether that's male or female. They've tuned in to watch England play football, and that's why you talk about the figures we had for the semi-final. 11.7 million people don't tune in to watch rubbish. They tune in to watch the best. They tune in to watch the elite. They tune in to cheer for people that are inspirational. And that's what makes me proud now, is that actually when I came back from the World Cup, there was a lot of, we've inspired the next generation. I feel as if the biggest generation that we inspired was the older, cynical generation that grew up where actually football probably isn't for women. Football isn't probably
it couldn't be done.
Yeah, football, you can't have quality. You can't shoot from distance. You can't have overhead kicks. You can't defend well. It's almost as if like I went into Costa one day, and a little old man who was absolutely gorgeous, he said, that World Cup was bloody good. And I went, did you enjoy it? He says, do you know what? I've got to hold my hand up. I've never watched women's football because I've never wanted to, but unbelievably, I enjoyed that better than any other football I've seen this season. So it was that generation that we affected probably more than the younger generation. The young girl on the local park probably always dreamt of being a footballer anyway, but the old cynical generation that grew up that actually women shouldn't be playing football, they were affected more than anyone.
Did that little old man in Costa, did he just make your day by saying that?
It was the best moment ever, because, I kept saying, because we were a little bit, we wanted to win to inspire the next generation, not just to come home and take pats on the back for finishing fourth. And when the little old man came up to me outside of Costa and said, your team played bloody well and your team were inspirational, I was like, actually, we probably have made an effect on people's lives here, which was pleasing.
That's fantastic. God love that little man in Costa.
I know.
Bless him. Right, so let's move on. It's going to move us on nicely, actually. So sport, all about quick thinking, adapting to ever-changing environments, all that type of stuff. And sometimes you're just plain blagging it. Have you ever blagged it? Like, have you ever
every day.
Just how we go through life, isn't it?
Yeah, we blag our way through life, Becky,
We do. So with that in mind, we are going to do sports-related, quick-fire questions, 45 seconds on the clock, and all you have to do is answer with the incorrect answer.
Okay,
so here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Name the manager of Manchester United.
David Moyes.
How many teams make up the Premier League?
2.
In which city is Wembley?
Manchester.
Whose nickname are the Toffees?
Liverpool.
Which sport uses wickets, stumps, bats and boxes?
Football.
If you win a silver medal, what position have you finished?
3rd.
What sport does Steph Houghton play?
Netball.
What does VAR stand for?
Victory and result.
Oh, which sport is played at Wimbledon?
Football.
The Women's Euro 2021, now delayed till 2022 tournament is being played in which country?
Belgium.
In football terminology, what do the letters GK stand for on a team sheet?
Good kick.
Oh, just squeezed in there. I'm impressed.
I'm sharp.
Yes.
I'm a bluffer.
You are, but you managed to nail that. And I think she's going to be fuming. You beat Jules at that. You got 11.
I mean, obviously.
Look, let's just finish up picking your brains on help and advice.
Yeah.
For people that would actually like to do a career in sport, whether, to be fair, I mean, this podcast is predominantly about females in sport, but it can be definitely applied across. Because you've got various aspects. Let's start with, as a player at grassroots level.
Yeah.
What can people do? Where do they go? How do they get going as a player?
Well, I think as a young boy or girl, and we talk about probably girls because it's a female podcast, is that you've got to obviously Google where your local sports club is, Google where the local training session is, put yourself forward to get into that training session and go down there and commit to playing football. And then I always think that something Sir Alex used to always say to us, if you're only doing what your coaches are telling you to do, you're not doing enough. So then it's the practice up against the wall, it's the practicing your left foot, right foot, basic techniques in the back garden, in the backyard, in the local park with your mum, your dad, and dribble at your dog. There's nothing better than what a dog likes is if you're taking them on 1v1. And these are all practice drills that can be done on their own. So I'd say practice as hard as you possibly can, but obviously try and find some structured practices near you, a local community centre or some training sessions that you can go down and start integrating yourself into a team environment.
And ultimately, you are going to have to take some risk as well, isn't it, in terms of
do you know, I think my biggest learning since coming to the women's side is, and I say it to female coaches, is that put yourself out there. You might doubt yourself. You might lack a little bit of confidence and belief because you think probably other people get the opportunities before you or that other people are better than you. But I've seen female coaches produce some brilliant sessions, equally as good as male counterparts. So what I say to them is, that is equally as good. Get yourself out there, put yourself forward, show confidence and belief in yourself, and do it. Don't hold back in any shape or form. I think we're in a society now where I think females have got to get themselves out there, put themselves forward for the best positions, get out there and play football, get out there and be who you want to be and show some real courage and bravery in your decision making. So I would say be really courageous in everything that you do.
And I guess that's an attribute in terms of a coaching or player. As a coach, what sort of attributes do you look for when you are building a team around you? What sort of people do you want to work with?
Look, people talk about skill and all. Skills at the bottom of the list for me. I look for attitude. I look for commitment. I look for the hard work, basic principles that will make you successful. So when I'm picking a team for the biggest games, those are the things that I look for in the characteristics and profile of my team. Are they committed? Do they work as hard as they possibly can? Is their attitude unbelievable? And then skill and ability come at the bottom of that, because the first three that I've mentioned there will take you right to wherever you want to go. The cherry on the top is your skill, is your ability, but the ability to practice, work hard, and the attitude to do that are the fundamental things that help me be successful as a professional footballer. And I still think nowadays when you're building a team and you're giving advice to kids, the kid that has those top three attributes are the ones that I'm going to invest my time in, because the skill bit, the technique bit, that can be developed.
Yeah, you can almost teach that, but you can't teach an attitude. Someone's either just got it or they haven't they?
You can't.
Is there anything that you would perhaps do differently? Is there any lessons that you've learned that you think, if I could do that, I maybe wouldn't have gone about it that way? Anything like that? Or are you fairly set with...
Well, I don't like to look back. Whether that's the mentality I got from Sir Alex. The minute you win something, look forward. So I'd say that I don't like to look back. But I think over probably the last 2.5 years, that I've learned so much. I've learned so much about myself, but I've learned so much about the female athlete. And yes, at the start, I probably was slightly inexperienced with dealing with female athletes, even though I'd grown up in a house for 25 years with an England senior netball player. Probably until you stand in the shoes of a female athlete, female person in this environment, you probably don't realise actually the barriers, the obstacles that have been put in the way. So I'd say that is probably the one thing that I didn't probably fully understand at the start. At the start, it was probably oh, let's just get on with it. We'll cope with that. We'll be better at that. But actually, when you go beneath the surface, when you get beneath the weeds and you realise and you hear the backstories of every one of my players about the obstacles and the challenges and the lack of funding and the no pitches, no boots, no equipment, and even some of the stuff that happens nowadays in the world is there's still lots to do. We're nowhere near the level that we need to be at. We're nowhere near the level of respect, probably, that I believe that should be affronted to us. So it's probably now I found myself in the shoes of a female program, female organisation where I'm working, is that actually probably I was a little bit ignorant beforehand, even though, like I said to you at the start of the interview, I probably didn't really appreciate the obstacles my sister had. Somebody that was in the next bedroom to me.
Your sister has been amazing, by the way. I know we've mentioned her a couple of times, but we've not spoken about her. She gave possibly one of the greatest sporting moments within netball
ever.
When they won that. I can't even tell you. I was watching that like this, screaming at the telly, like probably the rest of the country was. How much of an inspiration has she been to you?
Incredible. I've got to say, that's one of my best moments in my life, that moment. I was boarding a plane at Luton Airport to come back to Valencia, and literally at 5 a.m, because it was in Australia, I refused to board the plane until that last shot by Ellen Owlsby went in, and then literally I think I bawled my eyes out, and I'm not a crier. It was one of the best moments of my whole life, and that moment of that last 2 minutes of that game, it was incredible. And like I say, somebody that's my twin sister, that she's 12 minutes older than me, I didn't realise probably the full extent of the boundaries and the obstacles that she's had to overcome. So my probably biggest learning over the last 2.5 years is actually, and we're going through it now with Black Lives Matter, is that actually until you've lived in the shoes of that black person, until you've lived in the shoes of a female that's had these obstacles, then I don't think you should probably think it'll be okay, or let's just get on with it, or let's just wear a t-shirt, or let's just think that somebody will do something about it. Actually do something about it now. Act and try and do something yourself to make it better for this generation of people.
No, I totally agree. Education, isn't it? Education is key with all these things. Right, we're going to finish up with one final quiz here. This is your last chance to get some points on the board here, Phil. This is the last one. So this one's a little bit simple, and it's simply, how well do you know yourself? So these are all questions about you. So I'm hoping that you're going to get all these. We'll see how we get on. We are going to let's do 45 seconds on the clock again. We'll get through as many as we can. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. I can see he's fully focused here. And 3, 2, 1, go. What year/season did you make your first team debut for United?
95-96.
In your time as a player, how many Premier League appearances did you make in total?
356.
No.
Is that right?
No, that's wrong. How many Premier League titles have you won?
6.
How many England caps have you got yourself?
59.
Yes. You took over the England women's job in January 2018. Who was your first match in charge against?
France.
What was the score?
4-1.
As of this morning, when I last looked, how many Instagram followers have you got?
500,000.
Oh, I'm impressed that you kind of know that. You made your Everton debut in a Champions League qualifier against Villarreal. Yes, in 2005. Which former United teammate did you face that day on the... Yes, well done. Time is up. How many did we get through there? I think we got through 8. That was pretty impressive. Let me just add up all the scores. What have we got? 5, 11, 8. Oh, 24. That is still pretty good. You come second in our leaderboard right now. Jules Preach just on top with 26. But Phil, that was awesome. Thank you. One final line from you, and then I will let you go. Thank you so much. You've been awesome. One final line. I just want you to finish this sentence. You can say as many words as you want, as little as you want, whatever you feel comfortable saying with it. So I'm going to start it, and I'm simply going to say, women in sport.
Women in sport deserve respect, deserve great opportunities, and deserve to be at the forefront of everybody's minds. How's that sound?
That sounds incredible. Phil, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. Thanks for the stories. Great insight.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for listening to Outside the Box with me, Becky Ives. Make sure you subscribe, share far and wide, and please feel free to leave me a review. Let's keep this conversation going though on social media. Just use the hashtag OutsideTheBoxPod.